Hey, what's up, everyone? So, some of you may have bought your first coins recently, and now you're wondering, what can I do with them? So, today I want to share with you some crypto trading strategies that I feel like are particularly friendly for beginners. Before I begin, I want to say my usual disclaimer that this is not official investment advice and to take everything I say with a grain of salt. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. So this is just a quick agenda of what we'll cover. Feel free to take a look. I'm not going to read it all. But one thing to note is that I won't be covering technical analysis in this video, and instead that will have its own separate series because it's a little bit more complicated. Okay, so the most straightforward strategy is just to hodl or to hold. That means to buy some coins and just pretty much don't touch them and forget about them for a few years. Hopefully, if everything goes right, they will be worth a pretty penny once you revisit them after waiting for a long time. That way, you don't have to worry about any crashes. You don't have to worry about them going to the moon. Just keep on holding. Something else that I recommend for beginners is called cost averaging. So if you feel like a coin is particularly high right now, but you still want to buy, but you don't want it to start dropping a lot immediately after you buy, this is a good strategy. Basically, you buy at consistent intervals, like every day, every week, every month. It doesn't matter. Just pick an interval and split your money across that and put in maybe $10 or $100 every once in a while. That way, it's more conservative um, because the lows are less low and the highs are less high. You're averaging, it's called cost averaging. So rather than putting all your money in up here and then it dropping down a lot and you're like, I screwed up. It won't be that bad because you're buying a little bit here, 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 and on and on. So it protects you from really big drops and really big losses. Something else you might have heard of a lot is called buy the dip. So basically what that means is that if something's gone up pretty high and once it starts dropping, you can start buying some. One tip I have though is to be patient. When it starts dropping, you could possibly buy a little bit, but don't get too excited and put all your new money in and buy immediately when it starts dipping. Because I've done that a few times, and then once this drops some more later on, you've kind of hoped that you save some money to buy it for an even better price, right? And so be patient, don't be too patient, but basically just get a good feel for it and just be ready for if it drops even more. And if it doesn't drop more, then you can always save it for the next downturn. Okay, the next thing is locking in profits. Okay, this is something that's really hard to do because it goes against human nature. And so basically when a coin starts going up, up, and up, or going to the moon, as they say, we all get really greedy. We're like, oh, we're going to get Lambos, we're going to become millionaires. But instead, the smart thing to do is to start locking in some profits every once in a while. Because as they go up really high, they can also drop really fast. And if you held it all the way up and all the way down, then what's the benefit of it ever having gone up here, right? And so this is definitely something to look into. And I'm not saying sell all of it at once, but just maybe a small percentage at every designated interval of a rise, according to your own strategy. Another similar strategy is called increasing your position. And basically that's when it goes up, you sell a bit, and then when it drops back down, you rebuy in. Now this is also definitely a nerve-wracking strategy because you don't know if it's going to hit a point where you're willing to rebuy in at. It may never hit there and just go back up, up, and up again. And so how to work with that is to first not sell everything and just do part of your stack. And then also just have in mind that if it doesn't go back down to a price you're willing to rebuy in at, just use the profits to buy another coin you've been keeping your eye on. So that way it's a win-win, right? Okay, now this is the opposite side of the spectrum, but also really hard to do because it's against human nature. And so everyone's heard of the phrase like you're not at a loss until you sell. The problem is that if like fundamentals change or if like the market sours on a particular coin, you might have like big losses and not want to sell it, but it might be smarter to sell it and redirect those funds to another coin that will help you recoup your losses faster, right? Um, so this is definitely like more of an art than a science, but just something you want to consider and like fight the biases to like really be really stubborn and hold it until like the end of time. Okay, something else, kind of flipping gears. In terms of balancing your portfolio, this is something that's a little bit more hard to manage because it takes more time, but definitely a good thing to do. And so you can split your portfolio in multiple ways. Like you can have part of it for long-term holding, the other part for day trading. You can have part of it designated for like blue chips coins, the other part for really risky ICOs, right? But the whole point is to like have a distribution and to rebalance if skewed. So let's say like part of it starts out at like 13.9%, but it grows really fast, like 30%. You might want to sell part of that and then spread it out amongst like other coins to follow the strategy that you set forth in the first place. So in that case, you'd be rebalancing, getting the proportions more even to what they were before. And so this is similar to like mutual funds, right? If you're a regular investor, they split things between like stocks and bonds, like 70-30 or 50-50, depending on like how risky you want to be and what your goals are. Okay, finally, locking away your coins is a good strategy if you have part of your strategy that calls for not touching a share of your coins for a long time. In that case, you might want to put them in a paper wallet or some other place that's like harder to access real quick. Because I know a lot of people get bored and they're like, oh, I want to trade daily, or like, oh, I want to FOMO buy or panic sell, and they go against their predefined strategy and then end up regretting it later. So if you're the kind of person that might do that and put your hand in the proverbial cookie jar, then you might want to lock away your coins. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment below, and give me a thumbs up and subscribe as well. See you on the next one.